let's get started. The NBA conference finals are getting kicked off, right? And we're ready to go. OKC in Minnesota.
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, right, the Knicks and the Indiana Pacers. And, Rob G., can you set the table? Because the OKC Thunder is a young team.
They are.
But the numbers and everything they put up this year, it's hard to look at them and not think that they shouldn't be the overwhelming favorites, which they are, right, Rob and Rob G. in Vegas?
Oh, they're the overwhelming favorites, and for good reason, according to Lamar Mitchell, BetMGM, friend of the show. Shout out to Lamar Mitchell, everybody over there doing great work. I texted you guys earlier in the day. This Oklahoma City Thunder team, with no titles, mind you, are, according to BetMGM, minus 175 favorites to win the championship this season. To put into context, the next closest odds for the number 2 team is the New York Knicks at plus 450, which means, according to Vegas, it's like a 40% chance more likely that OKC wins than any other team. Adding more into this, at some point this week, the expectation is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander will be announced as the runaway winner for the NBA MVP. On top of that, in the regular season,
are we sure about that?
The Oklahoma City Thunder.
Because I was sure that
Lamar Jackson
was going to be MVP.
Yeah, that's how that worked out for you. It's a good point.
Okay, I'm just
Regular
saying, right?
season.
We all, I mean, after he won the first All-Pro, right?
Yep.
It was just like, wow. Okay, go ahead.
OKC
Somebody tried to tell you. But
set the NBA record for the highest point differential by any team in the regular season. Yes, including the Steph KD Warriors, including Jordan's Bulls.
Well, Jordan's Bulls shouldn't be number one because of the three-point ball, right? You would say with the Warriors. Like now, all teams should pass that because of that.
Plus,
it's a different game.
Yeah.
Now.
12.9 points per game. And in the playoffs, it's been more of the same. I know they went to 7 with Denver. But through the first 2 rounds, the Oklahoma City Thunder are plus 185 cumulative score. For context, they are only 40 points behind the Steph KD Warriors for the greatest point differential in postseason history. Guys, when you hear stuff like that, facts, not feelings.
Facts
would
with
it
Z,
be
right?
Big facts.
Would it be a choke job if the Thunder don't get it done? Number 1 in this series against Minnesota, but number 2 at the end of June.
Absolutely not. Reggie Miller is not showing up to the door with the choke sign. No. And there's a multiple set of reasons why, Rob G. Here's first and foremost. Nobody fully expected them to win except for maybe them in their room, meaning they weren't the consensus for everything you just named. The record-setting, franchise record-setting wins, point differential, MVP, likely MVP and SGA. There still was a bunch of doubt. There still was a bunch of us who went, yeah, I don't know, I got to see. And a lot of us felt like, are they going to earn it? They got bumps and bruises. Can they do this? And so to me, you can't be a choke job when we didn't expect you to win. And again, there are people who probably picked them, but they weren't a consensus. This isn't a KD with the Warriors. This isn't a Michael Jordan 96, 7, 8 Bulls if they lost to the Jazz. Like, oh, what a choke job. This is not that, where it was a given. And this ain't the same NBA. 7 years now running, we're going to have a different champion. So this isn't where we had a behemoth. This isn't Shaq and Kobe losing to the Nets back in 2002 or something like that. This is not that, or losing to the Pacers earlier. This is not that. There's no behemoth. There's no given. And you could argue a case for all 4 teams having a chance to win. So to me, they're fighting to not be viewed as an Atlanta Hawks when they won 60 games and had the number 1 seed in 2014, 2015 season, or maybe some of those Derrick Bulls teams that were number 1 seed in the East and Derrick Rose was an MVP, but they lost in the playoffs to LeBron because none of us really thought they were going to get to the finals. To me, they would be more like that where, yeah, great team record-wise, and they lost, but we didn't expect them to get to the finals, a la those Hawk teams, a la some of those Raptor teams with DeMar DeRozan, a la those Derrick Rose Bulls-led teams.
I'm with you. I know Rob G doesn't believe in it, and he's ready to give them the Heimlich maneuver and all that they could choke. I just, young team without experience, Could they get there and lose? Yes, they could. The round against Denver was more reason why I could question them. And that's because Denver took them to 7 games without another star. Like, seriously.
And banged up, too.
Right? Like let's be honest, right? Murray was hurt a little bit, right? Gordon, and it took them 7, and I know they blew them out, so you feel like better about it, but it was 7-game series. It wasn't like they rolled over Denver. Denver fired his coach. You could have looked at a couple things and said they held down the Joker 2 games, right? Yeah. So you could have looked at it and said, wow, that they should be there. I think that the expectation should be there, but it wouldn't be a choke job if, say, the Knicks, I'm just throwing it out, say the Knicks with a Brunson who's won 2 college championships, and Cat and Mikal Bridges, and the whole
Villanova team.
Okay,
won,
but you know what I'm saying, right? And that team that has been through that journey and has won a national championship, as you said, a couple times with a couple of those guys, could come in and win win this thing, and then you would look and say, okay, it wasn't their time the first time, but that they're close and that they could get there. So I wouldn't look at it like that. Now, I mean, what did we see when LeBron went to his first championship and they got swept, if you remember, right, by San Antonio. LeBron got swept. I'm not saying that this team is going to get swept. I think they're better, obviously. And defensively, when you have a defense like that, the number 1 rated, you're going to be in a lot of games, and you're going to have a chance to win most games. So there's a lot of stuff on the plus side, Rob G. But a choke, no. I could say if they lose, they weren't fully ready, not ready for prime time, a little green. But for a team that's mostly made up of young players and in this position for the first time, I wouldn't call it a choke.
No, the average age is 24 plus on that team, the youngest team in the league, and there were college teams in March Madness that were older than them. Literally. First of all, there were some March Madness teams that I swear went to high school with me. At least you, Rob G. I got some years on you. At least you. They got to quit playing. I know with some dudes that I know. I knew a few Devontaes. I'm like, no, that was Devontae from 5th Street. But this team, to me, is not built up for the ideal of choking. Now, can you choke if you're up 3-0 and lose a series, up 3-1 and lose a series? That would be a choke job. But the idea of them not going to the finals, no, I don't think anybody would, other than themselves, who I'm sure it's our season, it's our time. Sure, they believe it. Nobody would be sure. At this rate, these 4 teams, there's not a single team that I'm blown away with wins. I think your choke job can only happen when you have had the sustained success. You could argue the Celtics was more of a choke job this season. You guys have been to a finals 2 times. You won one recent.
Well, and the 2 20-point losses at
2 home. That's where I was going.
I mean, those are the ones that stand
2
out.
20-point losses at home. You got the reigning finals MVP. You got one of the best players in Tatum. You guys have just won the finals. That, to me, is more of a choke job than if OKC were to go down in this
Especially since
round.
they were able to build those leads. It's not like the Knicks came in and made every shot and
you
dominated.
were up 20.
Right. Exactly.
Dominating the games, and you lost. So, to me, that would be a choke job. You got to have sustained success. So, again, if the Dodgers somehow, we're playing I can't even think, who's low right now, a low team in the AL right now. And, and you'd be like, oh, they're prohibited favor. Let's go to Mariners. Prohibited favor. Then you'd be like, oh, wow. The Yankees somehow playing the Rockies. You know what I mean? Right. You'd be like, oh, prohibited. Okay. Oh, yeah. And that would be a choke job. If you go, again, a Steph and KD lose to those Toronto Raptors without the DeRozan, not the Kawhis, that would be a choke job.
But
so
Rob
to me,
you're buying into the choke job if they don't get there, right?
Yeah, and I think you guys kind of made my point for me because, as you mentioned, there is no seasoned, grizzled veteran left in this Final Four.
Including them!
But wait a minute. But there are, just let me say this one thing, and then I want to hear your point. 2 teams went to the conference finals a year ago. We talk about steps in the NBA.
Yeah.
Indiana was there. They lost.
Yep.
Timberwolves were there. They lost. This might be Ant-Man's natural step.
He was knocking everybody out, too.
You know what I mean? And then, boom, here's his other chance. So this might be his second chance. But go ahead.
Sure. And that's historically how it happened. So you would say if you wanted to play that game, OKC losing last year was in Game 7, I think, to Dallas. That was their stepping stone. They had to take their loss before they could win. But there is no grizzled veteran champion in their way. And the biggest thing is all of the teams that we would have said coming into the playoffs are legitimate inner circle contenders have been eliminated. Cleveland's gone. Boston's gone in the East. In the Western Conference, nobody took Houston seriously. So it was Luka, LeBron, and the Lakers. Jokic is gone. And on an outside chance, Steph and the Warriors. Who's left? You have to get through an unproven Minnesota team with Anthony Edwards, who's only been in the playoffs once in his career. And in the Eastern Conference, you're going to the most recent champion was in the 70s. Like, everybody is playing on the same level playing field. So when you factor that in, how do you not say the team with the best point differential in the regular season all time, on pace to be the best point differential in the postseason all time, the runaway MVP, and you have home court advantage?
I'll tell you why, Roger. You bring up great points.
All those points are excellent.
Yeah, but you don't. If you don't have a strong two, I like Jalen Williams. Think he's a year or two away. If you don't have Shaq and Kobe, Kyrie, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph, meaning just SGA does not make, just having him alone does not make it a choke job.
Look at the Joker without, like, seriously.
And that wasn't a choke job, them losing, right? Because he's the best player.
But I'm just saying, like, you look at it and go, man, if they had a really good, like.
If I paired up Joker, to your point, and I'm pairing Joker up with Giannis, and they lost, you'd be, that'd be ridiculous.
Yeah, that would be ridiculous.
I disagree. I think if Giannis was in the Final Four and this was the rest of the quartet, you guys would say, if you don't get it done, it's a choke. So I don't know why they're held to the same standard.
Because he won before.
Because SGA is just now arriving. Hey, yo, am I in the party?
He been All-NBA first team for like 3 years.
And he just got to the conference finals. Hey. Giannis has been in the VIP behind the velvet rope, holding champagne.